Good day, everyone. To coincide with our World War I unit, I've created a small mini-lesson to go along with our main theme. In class, we discussed our 4 main reasons for the start of the war and introduced one of the biggest events in present-day history. If you could, please take a moment to pause this video and reflect on some of these things we've discussed in class. Jot down our 4 main reasons and the 3 most significant battles of the war. All right, I hope that went well. If you can remember our mnemonic device MAIN, the 4 reasons are militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. If you didn't get that or are still having trouble understanding these concepts, you can find them in our textbook. Now, let's remember our battles. If you had Verdun, Somme, and Ypres, you'd be correct. Congratulations! Today's video will focus primarily on our Western Front. If you can all recall, this is the front in Europe between the Belgium coast and Switzerland. It stretched through France and was the main line of defense against the encroaching German forces. I'd like you to take a moment to ponder what this theater might have looked like. What important defensive tactic was utilized during this time? War on the Western Front had not been an easy one for either adjoining forces. With the invention or improvement of technologies, soldiers were equipped with weapons of dangerous proportions. These very weapons, chemicals, machine guns, and artillery, proved most deadly in combat, forcing most soldiers into the nearest foxhole. Many quickly learned that a new system of warfare must be invented to work around these devastating obstacles. Working from the ground, from what they knew best, soldiers then started digging. It started as small holes in which they ducked their heads into. Foxholes, as mentioned before, a key term which I'd like you to remember. To establish a line of communication, soldiers then started digging shallow trenches where they could crawl to reach neighboring foxholes. The system of digging then expanded. Soldiers dug deeper and fortified their trenches with land obstacles. Some of the most important to remember are machine guns, barbed wire, and artillery. Most often, just raising your head above the trench's side could have you meet your end. The machine guns, protected by concrete structures known as pillboxes, were primed and ready for the slightest movement along the enemy's lines. Artillery would rain down from above, crashing into and devastating opposing trenches. Even in traveling over land, forces were met with entanglements. The ground was uneven from constant fire, and barbed wire littered the land between enemy trenches. Most often, this meant stalemate. This land became known as no man's land. Merriam-Webster defines this system of trenches as follows. Trench warfare is warfare in which opposing forces attack and counterattack from a relatively permanent system of trenches protected by barbed wire entanglements. This Western Front became a tiring and stressful region lacking of any real movement. Both sides moved from offensive tactics to defense in maintaining their line along this front. By building a complex system of trenches, they were able to protect themselves and supplies from oncoming fire. However, if they wanted to gain more ground, they'd have to be careful in their approach. Some soldiers became known as tunnelers, those who would travel underground in order to reach opposing sides. This method was highly dangerous as the soil was often unstable, burying many in their progress. Another offensive strategy would be to charge enemy lines. Supporting fire would be provided by means of artillery bombardment, but this strategy also proved very dangerous and oftentimes unsuccessful, as suppressing fire from machine guns and barbed wire halted many of these attacks. Trench warfare then started a long period of waiting and observation to see who could hold out the longest. This concludes our lesson today, but I would like you all to reflect on this video. Please take notes and come prepared to discuss it as our opener next class. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon.